Hi, Josh. How are you?
I am doing wonderful on this Schmurz day, whatever it is today. I've lost track of time. I am healthy. I am well. I am quarantined, and I am enjoying the beautiful weather here in LA. How are you?
I am in my living room on a beautiful Schmarsh month and really enjoying myself inside. Tell me where you came up with the idea for this Reunited Apart.
So I had been trying to figure out ways to do my job during this very difficult time and keep people sane and entertained, as I am a quote unquote entertainer. And the way that I was doing that at first was I was reading to kids. I did something called Gad Book Club, where every day at around 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I would hop on and read a story to children at home to relieve the parents more than anything else after a long day of homeschooling. And eventually, what happened was a lot of like-minded people started doing the same thing, and I realized that my skill set was better utilized elsewhere. So I tried to figure out a way to raise money for those efforts right now that are so desperately in need of them. And I tried to come up with something that I felt I would want to watch, something that would bring me to not only want to donate money, but feel really good at a time when it's hard to find light in anything. And what better way to do that than to celebrate those things that we all grew up loving? And so I on a whim, decided to call the cast and the creative team of one of my favorite movies of all time, The Goonies, and pitched this idea to them to do a show called Reunited Apart, put it on YouTube, raise a bunch of money off donations. And one by one, I was able to get what was originally intended to only be like two or three. It became a tsunami, and it became every single person involved with the main part of production on that film, from Josh Brolin to Sean Astin to Steven Spielberg to Richard Donner to Chris Columbus to Cyndi Lauper. And from there, the thing, just like I said, it just blossomed into this show that I hope to keep going and continue to raise money.
Why the Goonies? Why start with the Goonies?
For me, the Goonies represents that sort of perfect uh, film that fully embodies escapism at its best, right? What is it about? It's about a group of kids limited to nothing more than their bicycles and their wits, who go on an adventure during a very difficult time in their lives, as two of them are about to lose the house they grew up in to foreclosure. And the only thing that could possibly save the day is a bounty of money, a bounty of treasure, if you will. And lo and behold, they go and they find a map that leads to a ship with more treasure than would ever be needed. That movie, when it came out in 1985 and subsequently, has always been a movie that I always revisit to make me feel good, to make me laugh, to make me feel happy, to make me feel joyful. And there's a handful of those movies, and having recently rewatched it and introduced it to my own kids, felt like the perfect way to start this effort. And I wasn't sure when I did it if it was just my sort of cult classic love for that film that represented a very small demographic, or if there was a broader audience. And I can safely say, after about 10 days after we launched it, our show's been watched by over 2 million people on YouTube, and continues to raise, as of today, almost $30,000 for the Center for Disaster Philanthropy. So something struck a chord.
We have a clip from that first episode. Take a listen to this.
So I had a small favor. Was wondering if you could help me track down your entire cast from your movie, The Goonies. Could you do that?
Well, I could do it. There's plenty of ways.
Great.
Yeah, but it kind of takes something to get something.
Oh,
What I was
that's
driving at was, a little Olaf. Can you do a little Olaf? Come on, please. just a little bit, my wife and kids, like a little message. They would love it. We love that movie so much. Please.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I can do that. Hey, that's me. I'm Olaf. I like warm hugs.
That's it. You can do better than that. Come on. You're Olaf.
Hey! Hi, Sean's family. I'm Olaf. Would you or your family like to see me do the truffle shuffle?
No.
Still no?
No. But it was great, Olaf.
I love the idea that you are bartering Olaf personal videos for people right now.
What was so funny is when I pitched the idea of how I wanted to open that episode to Sean, there was a brief mention of it, and then Sean insisted that the only way he would do it is if I actually did do an Olaf message for he and his family. So it became art imitating life, imitating art, ultimately leading to me being forced to legitimately do an Olaf impression for Sean Astin and his children.
How did you get Steven Spielberg on board? I feel like he would be the white whale here.
He was the white whale, and I certainly didn't anticipate that he would say yes. I got him on board because I think Steven, like everybody else, is trying to lift spirits right now, is trying to do whatever he can to not only raise hope but raise money. And when I pitched him the idea through my friend Leslie Feldman, he immediately responded with such positivity, to the point that I really didn't want to take up his time. He's in the middle of an edit, I'm sure, for West Side Story, and so I had blocked out about 20 minutes for him to join us, and he stayed on for almost an hour and a half, to the point that I actually had to cut the interview off because we had to get it into editing. But it was just such a joyous occasion to reunite apart, if you will, with this entire cast and crew that I assume he hasn't had FaceTime with in quite some time. So I think for every single person involved, it was just an infusion of joy.
I have to say, here in Canada, we're pretty excited. I believe the next episode is Back to the Future, which, of course, stars a Canadian, Michael J. Fox. Tell me a little bit about why you chose this film.
I mean, what explanation is needed for choosing a movie as perfect as Back to the Future? It's a movie that I have seen probably no less than 350 times. It's a movie that has been described by so many in my profession and beyond as a perfect film. And it's a movie that really did define my childhood. I mean, Back to the Future is one of those films where I remember I was about 4 years old, but I can remember not only the first time I saw it, but all the subsequent times I saw it. And I remember being in the theater in 1989, 1990, when Back to the Future 2 came out, and watching that to be concluded at the end of the movie, and then that little trailer for Back to the Future 3. And that was the longest couple of months I've ever had to wait for anything. And that feeling that trilogy continues to bring to me, that feeling of joy, that feeling of discovery, having again just introduced the entire trilogy to my kids, was something I definitely wanted to be able to revisit with that particular cast. And Michael is such a treasure and was so unbelievably game. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but let's just say that if you liked the cast of the Goonies reliving some of the greatest moments from that film, just you wait. Just you wait.
I cannot wait to hear Michael J. Fox sing Johnny Be Good. I'm really interested in this because I think there's something about, as you mentioned, about Steven Spielberg, people trying to do what they can during this time to help. But I also think there's probably something else that it probably gives these actors. I mean, they probably haven't been in this film in 20, 30 years. They may not have seen each other in a long time. What do you think it gives them to be able to reunite and talk about these old times?
Well, I don't even have to assume because I've been privy to a number of emails and email exchanges post the recording, which I think is the greatest and most rewarding aspect of this other than the money that we've been able to raise for the charity, which is just this pure, unadulterated love, this pure, unadulterated joy that all of them are now back in each other's lives. They all share this sense of absolute like familial pride and being once again in communication with each other, which I guess I just assumed they were. It sparked so many wonderful and obviously private discussions that I won't divulge, but it's just been amazing to be a fly on the wall. I got to tell you, every single one of them is so freaking good. I really do hope as a fan that there is a sequel to the Goonies, because I think they're, as Chris Columbus says in the episode, they're better now than they were then. Even Jeff Cohen, who's a lawyer now, just so effortlessly got back into the role of Chunk, and it was just perfection. Same with Ke Huy Quan, who played Data. I'm so excited he's getting back into acting now and is about to do a couple of new films. Obviously, Josh Brolin continues to not only work but be one of the great working actors out there. Same with Martha Plimpton. Hoping that Carrie Green comes back, and obviously Corey Feldman is a part of so many of the great legacy movies of my childhood. So all of them, I think, share that pride, that joy, and that sense of excitement about hopefully being back in the zeitgeist in such a big way.
I've been thinking a lot during this pandemic about the function of art. And I think that on this show, we try to look for evidence of it. That art is meaningful and art can provide, objective function and goodness in your life. And I think during this pandemic, we've seen that more than ever, that it's, it's helping families, it's helping people who are facing anxiety, it's helping people be distracted. And I think in the case of Frozen and Frozen 2, and I'm not being glib here, it provides a function for families, whether that function is giving parents an hour and a half, whether that function is giving children a bit of escape from a very terrifying time that they might not understand. What does it mean for you to be part of a very rare thing like that?
It's the greatest gift I've ever been given. For a number of reasons. Primarily as a parent myself, to be able to share those films and to be a part of those films, and to be able to indulge in those films and the making of those films with my own daughters, and then have that as part of my legacy is huge. I don't think any of us imagined that the themes and the messages of Frozen 2 in particular would have been as prophetic as they are. But I have heard firsthand how much some of those very themes and songs, like "This Will All Make Sense When I Am Older," are now really resonating with kids in helping them to sort of understand that understand these very complex issues, and understand that at the end of the day, we're all wading through the unknown right now, right? We're all stepping, quote unquote, into the unknown. None of us know how this is going to end, but we do know that what we do have is each other, and we as a society have each other's backs. And I do think that Frozen 2, more than probably any other film that I've been a part of, and accidentally, but it really does resonate right now in a way that I don't think we could have even imagined 6 months ago it would have.
Josh, it's been a joy to talk to you. Before I let you go, I have to ask, you have kids and parents listening to this all over Canada and all over the US. I hate to do it to you, and I can't offer you a reunion of anything except for my high school bluegrass band. But is there anything that Olaf would like to say to the kids and parents listening right now?
This will all make sense when you are older. I promise you. I love you all, and I'm sending you lots and lots of warm hugs.
Man, you are the best. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.